remarried, she and her new husband decided we should move into a bigger place, which happened to be about 45 minutes upstate from where we lived at the time. This is all to say that I was forced to move to a new high school in the fall of my junior year. I decided that I hated everyone in this new school, even before meeting them. And to punish my mom for ruining my life, I would purposely not make any friends at all. That would show her. I won't lie. It was pretty lonely and miserable. Some days I would go on for an entire 8 hours without speaking, almost forgetting the sound of my own voice. I would guess that this went on for about 2 months or so. One day, as the final bell rang and a horde of high schoolers rushed for the exit, I was headed out from the building towards the parking lot. Out of nowhere, some guy tripped and landed directly into me, knocking me over onto the floor. It was a weird fall, though, like straight out of a Hallmark Christmas movie, where the future couple holding stacks of presents knocks into each other, dropping them and mixing them all up. It all felt very much on purpose. Naturally, I was jarred, and as I went to pull myself up, a hand shoved into my face, offering help. Hey, I'm sorry I just did that. My God, that was stupid. Here, I'll help you up. The hand belonged to a short, skinny guy with spiky black hair and skinny jeans. I can't recall exactly what he was wearing, but I remember making the assumption that he was into punk rock or something along those lines. I refused his hand and pushed my way to my feet. Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't even see you there. You know, these halls can be so crazy this time of day. I quietly nodded. I'm fine, thanks. You're the new girl, right? I mean, I don't know you, and I know most of the people at this school, and I've never seen you before, and when did you move here, and where did you move from? I'm Steve Mercado. Amongst the flurry of words, I managed to squeeze my name out, and then turned and walked towards the door. Oddly enough, he followed me and kept talking and walking with me. I was confused. What the hell is this kid doing? Why is he following me? And he just kept talking and walking and talking until finally I nodded in the direction of the parking lot and said, okay, I gotta go. Oh, do you have a car? Steve asked, to which I replied, yes. Then he started talking about cars and wanting a car and needing a car. There was a long line of buses waiting at the front of the building, students climbing aboard. Shit, Steve said, I just missed my bus. I looked back at the buses. They were just starting to drive away. What number is your bus? I asked. 238, Steve said. Bus 238 was clearly still there. I looked at him confused. Shit, man, do you think you could give me a ride home? Where do you live? Oh, I live right there too. Perfect, Steve said as I continued to be confused. Now, however, with all the talk about missing the bus number 238 started to actually drive away. Isn't that, I pointed to the bus pulling out of the parking lot. Steve continued to talk as he tagged along, never stopping to see if I, in fact, could drive him home. Baffled, I walked towards my car and let him get in. Okay, I guess I can give you a ride then, I said. And Steve kept right on talking. He did live near me as well as the A&P supermarket that my family frequented. He worked there and asked if I could take him there instead of home because he really needed to get to work and the bus didn't go that way anyway. How would you have gotten there if I didn't take you? I asked. Steve shrugged and kept on talking. And that is how I met Steve. I spent many an afternoon during driving Steve to various places, home, work, the diner, and we became best buds. Steve introduced me to his crew, and I was eventually invited to their inner circle that remained some of my longest and closest friends, Steve included. But Steve was always my favorite. Steve never shied away from a dare. Perpetually broke, he would ask you to dare him to do something, and then his reward would be you paying for whatever it is that we were doing. I have many memories of Steve's insane dares. Many of these dares took place at the diner. Whatever diner, because that's what we did back then. Go to diners. One time, someone dared Steve to eat the huge block of cream cheese that the diner typically gave you when you ordered a bagel. The amount of cream cheese that you could get on the side was comical. Literally a block of cream cheese. This did not bother Steve, who grabbed a fork and went to town. I remember someone saying how gross this was and how we'd probably have explosive diarrhea soon. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but hey, free cream cheese! Another time, someone dared Steve to walk and to wear an electric dog collar and escape the invisible fence in the yard. He ran into nothing, only to be shot, flying back, landing on his face. It really works, he said as he pulled himself together. Steve had this hilarious made-up tradition that anytime someone played the Beatles song, "Oh Darling," he would start stripping. Nothing was funnier than surprising him with the song in the most awkward moments. But man, that dude did commit to his craft. The first few chords of the song would start, and he would stop whatever he was doing and take his clothes off. It didn't matter when or where we happened to be. And he'd be down to his underwear before someone could shut the song off. I can't help it, it's a condition. Over the years, Steve would drift in and out of my life for a variety of reasons. But we were always the best of friends when we did see each other. There were times when Steve would wind up sleeping on my apartment floor, or that I would pay for his drinks at the bar. Then, other times, I didn't know where he was or what he was doing. In the fall of 2019, I was visiting New York City and made a plan to take the train up to my hometown in upstate New York, where a handful of friends had eventually moved back to start their lives. Steve picked me up from the train, and I remember it was the first time I had seen him with gray hair. He looked older, skinnier. He had a hospital bracelet on, which I noted. Yeah, crazy story. I just got out of the hospital. I had a urinary infection, he told me in confidence. When did you grow a vagina? I joked. Steve was a bartender for life and never had health insurance. So his hospital stay wasn't great for his bank account, but he told me he felt much better. I didn't mention it to our other friends, and it was a great day that we spent together. Steve drove me around to all the old haunts, and we told all the old stories of our misadventures. We texted regularly during the pandemic, sending each other links to music we thought we'd both like, and making fun of each other's taste. Sometimes in the summer of 2021, Steve FaceTimed me, not texted, and said he had something to discuss. I could quickly tell that he was calling me from a hospital bed. So, I have bladder cancer, he said with an air of lightness. It's no big deal. I don't know, it might be. At first, I thought he was joking, because this would be the exact type of joke that he would play on me. But he wasn't, at all. He made me swear not to tell anyone, and so I spent the next few months walking around with this awful little secret on my shoulders. And it only got worse. He had numerous hospital stays and several complications. I texted him every other day or so. How's it going? Have you heard this song? Remember when we left my car in the parking lot of the batting cages and they locked it in and we had to bust through the gates? Remember when? Steve would text about the jokes, about the drugs in the hospital, and how I should seriously get yourself on some morphine. That's the way he was. But then it got worse. Eventually, a handful of his friends knew what was going on, and we were made to understand that no, this was not a joke at all. I texted with Steve on Thanksgiving in 2021. I told him I'd call him when I got back home to Kentucky. I never got the chance to. The following week, he would wind up back in the hospital, and very shortly after this, his family took him home for good. The cancer in his bladder had moved and somehow had caused complications to his lungs. And his last few days, he was on oxygen and painkillers, and he passed surrounded by friends and family. That March, I flew to upstate New York for Steve's memorial service. It was just what he would have wanted. At a bar. They served PB&J sandwiches and French fries and fancy cocktails. Someone made a playlist that ran on a loop all night with a slideshow of photos of his life. It was terribly sad and lovely at the same time. Naturally, Oh Darling by the Beatles was playing on the playlist. I played it at least 5 or so times through the night. Despite the somberness of the mood, all I kept thinking was, oh man, I hope every time the song comes on for the rest of eternity, Steve is up in heaven and he is forced to strip for God and Jesus and all the rest of them. I'd probably ask him why he did this, and he would surely respond, I don't know, it's a condition I have. And that would be the best joke ever.